All right, everyone, good morning. Thank you so much for being here today. We look forward to showing you some really great functionality that we have coming your way to replace the existing DLS, dealer licensing system, and to give you some things that we really think that you'll enjoy. So this morning, to start us off and to give us a kind of a kickoff, I'd like to introduce to you our Secretary of State, Connie Lawson. Well, I'm here just to welcome you all, and I'm actually going to stay for as long as I possibly can because as I travel the state and visit with dealers, there are many times I get questions. So I'm planning on staying as long as I can today to learn the system too. But you're here because we've been working with PCC Technology Group, and there are many of them over here, who have been helping us develop a new dealer licensing system as well as case management system. And so today we're going to be running some test transactions on your dealer licensing, and you're even going to be seeing a new integration with Vintelligence, which we are hoping will make your jobs much easier as you enter in the vehicle identification numbers in the paperwork that you need to have in the deal jacket. So we're excited about providing you that. We will be bringing this system online early next year. That will be the plates on demand and the licensing system. The rest of it is going to be phased in. The phase 2 will be about mid-year next year, but we wanted to make sure that you saw the opportunities, so please keep watch on our website as well as our new Dealer Digest magazine. I hope that you all get so that you can see kind of where we are in the system and when we're going to start doing this. So we appreciate you coming today to learn about this new dealer licensing system. So I thought it would be a great way to kick off the meeting just to go around the room and just give us your name and what dealership you're representing, and we'll try to get through that real quick so we can get to the lesson. We'll start over here.
Okay, I'm Rania. I work at Raceville and Westside Automall. And I'm Tina Lico, and I work with
Casey. I work with Santa for our motor group. Andy Moore Toyota.
I'm Angie. I'm with Carla Toyota.
Paul Shirley, Sam Wolf.
Very good. We'll start here.
Laura, and I am Lomax Motors in Lafayette.
Mike Barth, First Class Motors in Richmond, Indiana.
Sharon Brennan, Fritz and Fishers.
Rena Johnson, Reliance Auto here in Indianapolis.
Okay, thank you.
John Pierre, Capital Sales.
Okay.
James, I'm with RCI.
Very good.
Bruce Kirschner, I'm a manufacturer of Great Dane Trailers.
Okay.
And then Mine Truck and Trailer. James Taylor,
Okay, back here.
John Bringle, Tom Roush, Westfield.
Very good.
Good morning, everyone. Brandon Clifton, Chief of Staff.
Nancy Morris, Secretary of State, Superintendent.
We've got some staff and PC people here, but if you would, introduce yourself.
Gary Humphrey, dealer, licensing area, manager of licensing and certification. Don Cloud, senior investigator, all the dealer services.
Melissa Reynolds, Director of the Audit Inspector.
Tom Essing, the director of IT.
Christina Shane, I'm the legal assistant for the division.
And Tom Stock, tech manager of PCC.
There's a couple people behind this cone here, aren't there?
Dave Wilson, Mark Yarman, all of them. That's Cynthia Bates, project manager for PCC Technology. And I'm Julie Spencer, I'm the lead DA for PCC.
And you've met Jennifer Nelson, but I will turn it back over to her.
Thanks.
Well, thank you, Secretary Lawson, for kicking that off, and thank you, Brandon, for being here as well. All right, let's take a look, and we're going to see what we're going to be discussing today. We went through the brief introductions for you, so you've already had that taken care of. We're going to talk a little bit about the project schedule and what you can expect to see in Phase 1 and Phase 2. Then we're going to go through and actually show you, and as you may see in your handouts, the actual what you can expect to see in the system. And we'll talk through that functionality with you as well. And then the fun part, after we're done talking, we'll actually turn it over and give you all the opportunity to go and do some hands-on actually testing the system and seeing what that will look like for you. So after we're finished with the presentation, then you'll have the opportunity to log onto the system, try a test dealer ID, try some VIN,
the vehicle identification number validation, and so you'll be able to see some of the exciting functionality we'll be presenting to you. We do ask that you hold the questions to the end. If you would not mind, please jot them down, because we will be happy to go through any questions with you, and you will have the opportunity for questions at the end. All right? Everyone ready to begin? Very good. Okay, as we have already talked through the introductions, Julie Spencer will be taking it over and doing the demo with you, so you'll see her a little later on. And let's talk a little bit about our project schedule. We do have 2 phases that we're going to be doing. Phase 1 is our first phase, and in that one we're replacing our existing system. That's really important so that we have a strong backbone and a foundation upon which to build. It will be that replacement system that will give us the ability to add additional online services, which you'll see in phase 2. The exciting things we'll be providing for you as well will be a dealer account setup functionality. We will discuss that here today, and also the online functionality for Place on Demand. So you'll see exactly how Place on Demand will look, and I think that you'll find it's very similar to current processes because it's not broken, so we don't have to fix it. But we do have the additional functionality of intelligence will help make sure that the vehicle identification numbers you enter are correct and valid. Now, phase 2 will be exciting. That's when we'll be able to offer the additional online functionality, including things like renewals, being able to do all of your change requests online, anytime that you want to request additional plate limit, things like that you'll be able to start and actually follow that through in an online process. So we will have a lot of functionality for you there about mid-year of 2017, and we're looking forward to that. Okay, the 2 demos that we're going to talk through, and these will be the screens that we show you, will be on the online dealer portal and the Place on Demand, and that will include the account setup. We're going to kind of focus on our phase 1 because that is the first bit of functionality that we're going to be providing to you. And as a reminder, you will have the hands-on at the end, so everything that you see here you'll be able to see for yourself when we get to the part of you actually testing it with us. All right, the online dealer portal. Has everyone seen our landing page before? How many of you have gone out to in.gov/dealer? All right, there we go. You're a tough crowd this morning. So this looks very familiar to you. That's because you will be able to access the online dealer portal through the in.gov/dealer site. So you'll be able to get to this very easily on a place that you already have. The online dealer portal will have a single sign-on functionality. Have any of you logged into InBiz? All right, there we go. We've got one. InBiz is our single sign-on that gives the wonderful functionality for the businesses to be able to have a single place to do all their business in the state of Indiana for setting up their business. And we've got incorporation with the Department of Revenue and the Department of Workforce Development. Well, if you have to go through and do all the work to set up your business, you'll have a sign-on for that. Through that one sign-on, you'll also be able to access your dealer account as well. Now, that is functionality that you will see coming. And this is your landing page. This is what you can expect to see after you've gone through and you've authenticated, you've given your credentials, and you are on your dealer portal. So this will be your one-stop shop for a quick, at-a-glance view of the basic things that you would need to know. What's going on with my license right now? These will be the types of things that you see. We're going to talk through all of them and a little bit more, but as you see the names here, please keep in mind we had to populate this with test data. So if you see a lot of new dealers, it's only because we had to find a single one that we could use for the test data, and it just happened to be that particular license type. You all are important to us. Please understand this is just test data. Okay? When you are on the online dealer portal, you will, in order to first get there, the way that we'll make sure that this is done with the proper security and to provide you with the functionality that you need, the primary owner will be given a secure PIN. And we will be talking about this more. This is just our first discussion about this so that you can get familiar with the concept. We want to make sure, since this will be a new process, that we talk through this in more detail. So there will be more communication ongoing. please keep in mind this is just your first look at it. That secure one-time use PIN will then establish you as the correct person on that account managing that license. When you click through to the online dealer portal, you'll have two functions here that you can see. You'll have the user details and also the role assignment. When you have additional dealers at your locate or additional staff that you want to have access to your account, they'll be able to go through the portal and request access, but it'll be that single point of contact, that primary owner, that will be able to grant them the access, and then anyone they designate and grant that role to going forward. So you will have that ability to manage that and make sure that it's properly working as you need it to for your dealership. The role assignment feature, we think that you'll really find a really nice feature that we've added for you. In addition to the security, you do get to set exactly what you want those people to do based on the roles that have been provided. All right, now we're going to talk a little bit more about the online dealer portal. I'm going to leave alerts and announcements for just a minute because we're going to cover that in later slides. But if we could talk about notifications for just a minute. Right now, one of the things that you'll actually be able to see is we'll be able to push through notifications that will be emails that are sent confirming particular transactions. So that means you'll get an email sent to the primary owner's email account on registry, and also see it right here in your dashboard. So you know that, and for example, if we have if you submit a new application, so I'm talking phase 2 functionality just to give you an idea, but keep in mind with me, follow through. If you submitted a new application online, this is where you see that notification, hey, that new application went through and your license is approved. So you wouldn't have to guess, where is this in the process, where are we, what's going on? Instead, you'll be able to see that at a glance that will be made available to you. So that's the function of the notification section will be a confirmation of that transaction that you'll also have an email in your email box for to provide you with that additional notification. Your current licenses shows anything that you have going on for this particular individual who signed in, the licenses that they are eligible to see. And here we said again, please keep in mind this is just that data that we have populated for you. The recent transactions we think you'll find very exciting. That's where anything that you've done will be populated. So you'll be able to see, okay, well, I requested an additional plate limit. There it is. Anything that you do that generates a transaction will be able to show there for you on your dealer dashboard. Your recent draft, any work that you do that you haven't completed yet. Say that you've got your new application and you know you have to provide the bond, the insurance, and all the other things, and you're waiting for that zoning affidavit to be signed. You can actually save where you are in the process and come back to it and pick it up at a later time rather than having to start the whole thing over again. So that will be a really great feature when we have this additional functionality for you. The recent payments, anything that you do that generates a payment will be shown right there for you. Okay? So as you can see, we've talked through the notifications, the announcements, the current linked licenses, the recent transactions, and the payments. Next, we're going to talk for just a minute about the alert section. This is where we'll be able to communicate with you and provide you with information so that you have it right there at your fingertips. If we're sending out a notification as an announcement to you, like I said, that there's a legislative change that now impacts the way that you have to do business or the way that we have to process something, that information will be available to you here as it pertains to your license. We'll be able to even separate that out by things that are more particular to the county level. Anything that we can bring it down to that level of granularity. All right, when you look at the online dealer portal, I'm sorry, if I may, just one more thing here. One exciting feature that we're going to have for the alerts and announcements section, right now when your bond and insurance expires, You may not know about it right away. That may not be the thing that's just lingering in the top part of your thoughts and processes. What we're going to be able to do is provide you with an alert that says, hey, your bond's expiring in 60 days. Hey, your bond's expiring in 30 days. Or do the same thing with your insurance so that you'll never be in a position where you lack because of the bond and insurance information expiring. So we're really excited to give that functionality to you as just an additional way that you can make sure that you're in compliance. The online services, this is where you'll be able to go to access the additional Phase 2 functionality that we discussed, where you'll be able to do things like online renewal and the change request and all of those other functionality that we'll be real excited to provide to you. If you have more than one license that you need to be able to manage, you'll be able to do that through this drop-down feature. So, for example, if there was, and I think Ray Skelman is in the room, yes? So if you had multiple that you were assigned to and you needed to manage, you'd just be able to select from the drop-down list which one you needed to see at that moment. And then you'd have that information available to you at your fingertips. Okay. All right, so far we have discussed the account setup, how you would go about doing that, how you'd manage the roles, how you'd make sure that you have the appropriate people in your dealership assigned to be able to look at and manage your license on the dashboard. We've also discussed the dealer dashboard itself, the kind of information that you can expect to see, and the good things that it will be able to provide to you in additional features. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about the Place on Demand functionality. The Place on Demand, you can see we've got 3 different tabs here. And does this look a little familiar to you? Kind of similar? Yes, no, maybe so? There we go. Okay, so we've got the recent place, the generated place, and the credit purchase, and we're going to talk through each 3 of these functions. When we look at the Place on Demand, this will be the top part of the page that you see, so it will provide that at-a-glance view. What do you have existing on your account? How many enter in place? What's your level? How many credits can you buy? How many have you already expended? So these things, do they look familiar to you? Yes? Very good. Thank you. So that's the top part that will provide that at-a-glance view for you. The next section that you can see is that you'll have the ability to go in there and edit the place. So this is your print button here and your edit button here. Does everyone see that? So it'll be kind of easy for you to recognize. They will have the business rules behind them, shutting off functionality based on the business rules that we have in place there. Does that sound familiar to you, those business rules? Very good. So we've been able to incorporate that and make sure that that will work properly for you. But that nice print functionality will be right there for you, and we'll see that in just a moment. All right, Place on Demand. Now we're looking at the second tab, which is the Generate Place. And you can see this is where we have the option to put in the VIN, and we'll talk about that in a little more in just a moment. Does this look familiar to you as well? Very good. All right, here's where we talk about Vintelligence. Vintelligence will give us the ability to validate the vehicle identification number. And so you put in that VIN number here, instead of having to guess that you have it correctly or maybe missing it by 1 and it generating all kinds of problems on the back end, this will actually validate that for you up front to make sure that you've got the proper information entered. And we'll see in just a moment the kind of errors that it returns for you. So after you hit Submit, if for any reason there is a problem with the VIN that you entered, these will be your options. Like we know that prior to a certain year, what's that year? 81. Thank you very much. Prior to 1981, it may not be a 17-digit VIN. So for the used car folks, we realize that, hey, that may not be correct. But that's okay. It will give you the option to go ahead and enter it because you know it's the correct VIN. It's just prior to that 17 digits being standardized. And that will also generate those error messages you'll be able to see and determine, okay, I see that, oh, that was actually 0 and I put in O. You can correct that and then submit it, and then you'll be able to see in a moment what that does for us. it will actually pull through that information. I don't know if you can see it real clearly here. But in this instance, here's our VIN, and it was a 2016 Chevy Silverado 1500 charcoal. It will pull through those details for you, which should be a really good feature for you, we think. That's not something you're excited to see? Very good. We like it when we can provide you with something you like. Okay, now we're going to take a look at the purchase, and this will be controlled by a role. And so you can assign who would be able to print the plates, who would be able to do the credit purchase. And if you see, now we're going to be able to offer motorcycle insurance plates online as well. That wasn't something that we had before, so we're real glad to be able to provide that to you. And then the next feature should look very similar to you. Then you go to the shopping cart and you pay. This looks familiar as well. Very good. So you go to a secure online payment gateway, and you can use your credit card or a guaranteed e-check. Those are the two forms of payment that we will accept through the payment gateway. Once it's complete, you're returned back to the main page, and you'll be able to see those changes take place in the top part of your information. Okay, and then it will also populate that information through. It will hit the transactions and the payments section. You'll be able to see, okay, well, I recently purchased additional credits, and I recently had a charge of $12 to purchase those 4 credits. All right, everything look good so far? Very good. Okay, now, the part that you've been waiting for, I'm going to turn this over to Julie Spencer, and she's actually going to allow you the opportunity to go in and test this for yourself. If we could all take a moment, if your computer is not live, your user...
All right, so when you get to this page, enter in the dealer number that you have on your paper, and then the PIN, and for now, we have just assigned the same PIN to everybody, and then hit submit. And then when you do that, it's going to let you know that you've related to that dealer.
Still got a couple people we're
Do
trying
we?
to get hooked up.
So we're going to stop at that point right now. Those of you that have made it to this point, let's hold on and we'll get everybody else up to speed.
Okay, I got it. Verify.
Perfect. So all you need to do is create yourself a password
Okay.
wherever you want. And this will be
very
the password
good.
that you use for your email to log in the future for tests.
Very good. I'm glad that worked out. Oh,
Yeah.
you might aim to the next time then.
Relationship was established. Very good.
Yeah, I'm part of the team.
And how many people do you have that work with you guys?
Right now, including every
Yeah.
single runner, we've got about 22.
Really, that many? Wow.
We have a small service department too,
Oh,
so it kind of has
okay.
people on it, a detail
I think
department.
so small. I have the service, yeah. I had a couple people, I mean, I'm like, what you guys do, come with the car lot? I mean, it's like, you got a car I can drive, or you need me to do this, you need to do that? I'm like, no, not anymore, get out of here.
All right, great. So we have, most of us have made our account, which is great. You guys, great. You can go ahead and hit that green.
Yeah, with where you guys are at, you know, you got CarMax and all them, you know, you guys gotta be really, really good.
Yeah, it's all internet driven.
Y'all really, you guys do a ton of internet?
Well, it's meaning the advertising and the pricing and all that.
Some people, because we've been in our system playing around and relating with dealerships, they're not getting this message. If you do get a warning that you're already linked with someone else, or the dealership is already linked with someone else, let us know. We'll give you a new dealer to use.
Oh, mine did have it, and I said, okay. Mine had the message.
Like what I have right here?
Yes.
Perfect. That's what you want to see. Very good.
And after that, I got the message saying that it was linked to another dealership.
Is that right? So let's see what happens when I hit mine. Hopefully mine will go through this. Nope, mine, Mine looks like it made it, so let's see. Yep, I'm linked. So you need a new number then.
I said okay, and then what we tried that one.
Yeah. So again, one person at your dealership will be what we call the primary user, and they're going to be the one that receives the PIN and initially links their account, the dealer account, to our site. And then after that, that's the person that will be making sure that the other users that need access are granted the correct access with the correct role. And what they'll do when they get out there is something that we'll be walking through in just a moment. I want to make sure, though, before I move on, has everybody got to this point here to where they see the dashboard? Okay. Oh, yeah, so let's see what we can do. Okay. And then it does work.
You know, it's bad, in 3 years, I never sold one car off the internet.
So the number
Technically speaking, we're not selling cars on the internet, but we're just,
No, I mean, we've never advertised on it.
oh, really?
So I try to get them to do it, but everybody, you know, they always act like, they got so much stuff to do, I've never been able
One
to
guy
do it.
enters everything into our website, and,
Absolutely.
you know, then it all goes out to like cars and
Yeah.
Look at you, good.
Yeah.
No, that's fun, that's a good thing.
So you guys do
that's
good off
good for you to see.
cars.com and stuff?
Because that's a good thing. So some of you in here may have a relationship with multiple dealerships. There are certain people that are agents for multiple dealerships, and that agent may end up having more than one dealer. And so in the screenshots that we saw earlier, you may remember that in the current licenses, there were like 3 associated with that one user. And that means that that one user can go in and help and do things for all 3, one at a time, in any of the different activities that we are presenting in our application. But most of us are only related to one dealer, because we work for that one dealer and we don't manage multiple dealers. And so most of you will only have one. There are some of you in here that have received 2 different pieces of paper, and you might end up with 2, just like you. So you get to have the special experience here with multiple dealers associated with your account. So at this point, do we all have a dashboard with a dealer related? Very good. So just real quick, as was mentioned before, at the top left are the alerts and announcements, and that's really important. We put it at the top left because you will need to make sure to make note of any alerts that come your way, because it's important, like she was saying, especially for the alert about the insurance and bond expiration dates coming up. You're going to want to take action sooner than later. But there could be announcements from the state as well to let you be informed about some legislative changes and that sort of thing, and they will be there, and you would be able to click on the link to be able to see into it in case there was more information. Right now it is just this one statement. So that would be something you could do. And then up top right here will be where you would click out. There are items called notifications, and here again, like was mentioned before, these would be notifications about successful completion of some activities, whether it is when you become, if you were a new dealer and you needed to be notified that your form was processed successfully, it would be you would be notified up here. Here as well, current licenses. Like I said, most of us would just have 1, but some of us would have 2 or 3 or more if we're an agent that works for multiple dealerships. And when you click into here, you certainly would just pretty much see some information about your license type and your renewal date as a reminder about that. Recent transactions, this is where if you do pay for anything, you would be able to go here and see what kind of transactions took place. Now this, for all of your dealers, we did process, and while this says new dealer, it just means it's a new dealer application. So I apologize for the verbiage here, but we processed a new dealer application for everybody so that we could have the dealers set up, but it's not really a new dealer application. So that's here, and then certainly by clicking in here, once again, you would end up seeing if there were additional information to see. Recent drafts is something that you would use in Phase 2 when we do the other functionality. This would be where you're in the middle of needing to complete a form because you need to change an owner's name or something, and you're in the middle of it and you can't quite finish it, so you hit the Save button. Those would be the ones that you were saving and working on, and you can go back and click a button to get back into them and finish them up. And then, of course, while this is recent transactions, this goes into the recent payments, so the actual payments that are out there for you to make. But over here, certainly the home page, this always gets you back to the dashboard, the very top where you see the home. And then online services, this is going to be your world pretty much, is clicking on this button. And when you click on this button, you're presented with a menu. We will be in the future defaulting this to just be, if you only have one dealer, you won't have to select, but in case you had more than one dealer, you certainly would select which dealer you want to work on. So right now, we will all be selecting, but in the future, again, if you only have one, it should automatically go to that one. We have the Manage Users section that was alluded to earlier. If you are the primary, you would go there. I'm not the primary on this account because I had used the same dealer in the past using my own account. But you would go there and you would see the screen that was shown earlier where you can give a role to someone. In fact, let me log out of this account if you don't mind, and I will log back in using the account that I originally set up. And you'll see a different dashboard now for this user, because my own personal user, when I was playing around, I had associated myself with 3 different dealers. And then so if I go now to this online services, I select one, and then manage users. And it looks like Ed has been playing around in my own dealer. Ed? No. So if I wanted to, I could just say, no, Ed, you cannot be in my dealer, no access. Or I can allow him to have the access, and then I can edit some sort of role assignment. Right now, we don't really have much set up, so these aren't what you're going to see necessarily in the future, but you can change the role. And the role really just says they can see this page and do stuff on this page, but they can't do stuff on this other page. That's pretty much all it is. It limits them to maybe only purchasing credits, or no, we don't want them purchasing credits. So back to online services, that was managing user. Self-service is future kind of stuff. So while you might see something there, if you click on it, your PC might explode. So be very careful. But those are things coming up that we're kind of staging right now. They are not ready for you to play in. But what we are doing today is plates on demand. So when you get a chance, if you get to this location, feel free to click this link. And when you do, you'll be reminded to select a dealer if you're like me, because I need to go back and make sure I'm using the dealer I need to use. And when you land there, you'll see that some of you only have one column here, and some of you might have 2 columns. If we set up your phony fake dealer for the demo to be someone that sells both motor vehicle type vehicles, including trailers, that would need a motor vehicle type license, you would have this column. If we set you up as someone that only sells motorcycles, then you would have just the motorcycle column. But if we had your dealership, your demo dummy dealership set up to sell either, you would have 2 columns here with their own unique set of values. And once you get up here, you will see these are what you've seen before. These 4 fields are the same things that you've used in the past, so hopefully the meaning of them you already know, but you certainly do have a limit on how many you can have. You have credits that are available for you that you've already purchased. You have the number of places you've already printed earlier on through this year, and the number that you can buy more credits up to. And so those are all up here and calculated. And if you have done plates before, you have the recent plates tab down here, and you would have something populated. Many of you might not have anything at all right here, and that's fine. You will in just a moment when we go through that process. But just to let you know, when you have this, and these monitors are kind of squunched, and so we'll make this presentation a little bit better for any monitor size. But here, you scroll over, and you will have actions. So after you've submitted a plate, generated a plate, if you realize that you made a mistake, your customer name is spelled wrong, or something about the vehicle is not necessarily correct, you would be able to edit the item and go into it. You see that everything, for limited time, everything will be available for update. The vehicle information will be available for the first day, and then the customer details would be available for the first 3 days, and that's the date ranges we have at this time set up for you guys. And whenever you make an edit, no matter if it's just the vehicle or just the customer, you will always be required to enter in a comment, and then any comments that you enter in will be logged and presented to you later on, as you see here. And we'll go through that step in just a moment. For now, let's just go ahead and hit the back button if you were able to make it something like that. And we'll look at purchasing credits. We will start off there because many of you have zeros right here. You don't have any credits already available to you. And so if you go to the credit purchase, you'll notice for every column that you have up here with numbers, you should have a row down here. There is a motor vehicle column and a motorcycle column. If you have one or more, you should have one or more down here related with the same wording. And a reminder down here of how many credits are available to purchase, which equates to this value here. And so at this time, I think I'm going to go ahead and just do one of each. I want one motor vehicle, and you certainly feel free to start typing in however many you want. And I'm going to do 2 motorcycles. And as you're doing that, just kind of keep in mind these numbers up here because they're going to change in just a minute. So the available credits for me to print more, this number is going to increase by the numbers I have here. So I'm just kind of remembering them. I'm going to add that to my shopping cart. Notice the numbers have not changed yet. I didn't really lead you astray. The numbers are not going to change until you actually pay for them. So they're in my shopping cart. I can leave them there and go back to it later. Or let's go ahead and go now and purchase what we've submitted. So I had 3 total items that I had purchased, 1 motor vehicle and 2 motorcycles. And they were $3 each, so my fee total is $9, and that's okay, that's what I expected. So I'm going to proceed to check out. And when I get there, everybody needs to get out their wallet and, oh well. When I get there, I'm going to have to use this information that some poor handwriting person put on the board here. You have options of these dummy accounts that we have set up for you to use today. You can do Visa, MasterCard, Discover on either credit or debit. The CVV number, the zip code needs to be here, the expiration needs to be in the future, and then any data else that you need to put in, you can put in whatever you want. So that's what you need in order to make the purchase go through. So let me do that. Now, e-check is an option, but it's not something we have set up for you at this time. So please choose either credit or debit. And then enter in the number. And normally I take the easy route, but I figure most of you are doing the first number, so I'll do this one down here so we're not submitting at the same time and maybe doubling over. And I'm just going to say it's going to expire September of 2021. And just keep filling it in. You're welcome to make it be an international address if you want, but just go ahead and fill in some more information. Now the zip code, yes, be very careful. The zip code, we do need to use the zip code of 37215. 37215. And when I say put whatever you want, when you do the phone number, it needs to have an appropriate area code. I tried the 123 before and it didn't like it. And then select continue. So it's a standard shopping cart where you end up doing this stuff. Oh, I'm invalid. Where am I invalid? You have to do an email address. Do I? I do that too. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. I have a lot of extra digits, don't I? Great. Oh, you know what? They gave me a convenience fee. Well, that's not us doing that to you. That's the payment vendor doing that to us. So you get here and you need to accept the terms and process the payment. And then upon doing that, you will be taken back to your dashboard. You get your confirmation ID and a reminder of when you did it. And then you go back to the dashboard. And then to check that everything went through, let's go back into Plates on Demand. And let's see if my numbers changed. Oh, look at there, my numbers did change. It went up by 1 for motor vehicle and up by 2 motorcycle. So that's good. So that took us through purchasing the credits. Did everybody get a chance to purchase credits? Everybody good? All right, great. So now that we've purchased some credits, let's go ahead and generate a plate. Unless you already have, those of you studious people that were jumping ahead, you hit the Generate Plate section here, and you have options here if you have more than one. So if you have 2 columns up here, you will have 2 radio buttons here. If you only have one, you should only have one, and it should relate to that column heading. So if you're like me and you have 2, you need to be sure and select one. Now, in the future, if you only had 0, if right now, if you had available credits of 0, you would get a pop-up saying, you know, you can't generate a plate because you don't have credits. But we have plenty of credits right here, so it's not telling me that. We've given you some VINs on the paper. But just to show you as an example, earlier we talked about how some vehicles have a VIN of less than 17. If you were to put in just a few numbers here, something less than 17 digits, and tab out of it, you will get a reminder that what you've entered is less than 17 characters long. And at that point, you can either correct it or determine that while it's less than 17, it is valid because this VIN really is only 15 characters, and then you can use the VIN. You can select a VIN that's on your paper, and it should be a valid VIN to use. And it takes me a while to type these in. You guys are probably more apt at doing it quickly. So if I typed it right, that should be a valid VIN. And when I hit the Validate VIN, this is that special moment where we reach out to Vintelligence. And they're going to look at that VIN, and they're going to let me know if it's right or not. And look at there, it was right. And not only was it right, Vintelligence helped me know that it was a Ford F-150 that was with the year of 2010. Vintelligence doesn't give us back a color, so you will need to populate the color yourself. So we're going to make it a red truck. At this time, we don't need to populate comments. Comments are really only required when you make an update, but you're welcome to put in a comment if you like. And then when you get down to the customer details, if it's a business that's buying this, you only need to put in information in the last name. If it's a person and you know their first name, then certainly put that in, but the first name is not required. But it would be good to have their first name, certainly.
Only going to let us generate what we bought as far as credit.
That's
We bought one plate, so they're going to let me
right.
choose one plate. I can't do a second unless I buy one plate.
That's right. Yeah, we're going to get you. We're not going to let you generate more than you bought. You're right. So we're going to go here and we're going to populate the address and everything about our for our customer. And I apologize, I don't know zip codes well enough. There's places here for phone numbers. If you do have their phone number and want to retain that information, you can enter it here, both the regular phone plus the cell phone, and also their email address. And so certainly any of these fields need to have the appropriate characters. So the email address will need to have the full @ and .com and whatever else. And then, it is not required. You will notice there are some of these labels next to the fields that have a red asterisk. Those must be populated, and the rest of it is just additional information in case you want to retain it. And then you select to generate a plate. And when you do that, it's going to tell you it happened. But I don't see a plate yet, and so what's going to happen is when I hit this OK, we will get a pop-up down here, and that says, and it gives you the plate number. And then when you open it, you will then see the plate, and you'll be able to print the plate. Now, once we have it in our live system, we will actually have your dealer number would show up right here. Right now, we just have some dummy data sitting out there that we populate. But you will see that the VIN that you entered is there, the information about the vehicle, and the expiration date was calculated. And you can print that. But if you forget to print that, you can then go to your Recent Plates tab and find the one that you forgot to print or the printer malfunctioned, and you go over and slide over and you can hit the print button. And when you hit the print button, it will once again create the item that you can open. And then when you open it, you see, oh, I put it as a red truck. It really wasn't red. It's really more crimson, and I really need to put the right color because I'm a stickler for detail. So I'm going to go back in and let me update that to be the correct, actually it was blue because blue is an easy thing to spell. And so I've made an update right here, and then I go to hit submit, and it's going to scream at me because I did not put in a comment. It's going to remind me you must enter a comment. And so I'll enter a comment, and then I will submit it. And then it will automatically then bring up a plate for you that has the new details in it. You don't have to hit the print again at this time. In the future, you may need to hit the print again, but that's okay. So right now, it brought up, and look at there, now it says that it's a blue truck. So now the plate is actually correct, and I can print this out and cut it down to size and hand it over.
And you said we have like a 3-day window to print when making changes?
Well, you can always, the print button's always going to be there. What's going to happen is, after 3 days, this pencil, the edit button, is going to become a magnifying glass for you to only be able to view the plate. But even though the pencil's there, there's some information that you won't be able to update. The car information, the information about the vehicle itself, is only available for the first day.
And last name?
But then the customer information, anything down here in the customer details, will be available for up to 3 days. And even if you're on the second day and you're updating the customer, you will still need to enter in a comment.
Will it switch the expiration date on the plate, or that stays the same?
Very good question. The plate expiration date would stay the same. Very good. So at this point, we have done all kinds of things. We have purchased credits, we've generated plates, and we've looked at our recent plates and updated our recent plates. I want to show you a couple more things real quick in case you didn't get a chance to test out everything. There are times, and let me just be quick about it. I'm just going to copy that real quick. I'm going to generate this plate, and I'm putting in this VIN, and for some reason, instead of typing a 0 right here, I typed a capital letter O. And when I do that and send it out to Vintelligence, it's going to come back and let me know. I'm going to get this information. It's going to say, okay, you entered this, but when we looked at what you entered, we believe it's really this VIN. And now I can make an option. I can choose to keep the one that I entered in because I know for sure that that's right, and I'm not sure what Vintelligence is doing. Or I can say, oh, my goodness, I did a capital O instead of a 0. And so either one I can select, and then I go to use the selected VIN. And it brings up the information to be populated. I can similarly, so I have, let's see if I can make up a dummy one. So now I've taken a VIN that was valid and I changed up something that's going to mess it up. Hopefully I changed it enough to where now it's something that Intelligence won't be able to figure out. Let's see if I was successful in doing that. I did that. Let's go. Make sure you selected the plate type. And so I messed it up so much that Intelligence couldn't figure out what that VIN is, and they're saying to me that, they couldn't validate it. Please review this. So I review it, and sure enough, this really is the VIN, so I'm not sure why Intelligence couldn't figure it out, and I can use the VIN that I entered even though Intelligence couldn't figure it out. Or I can cancel, and then I'm brought back to the same page so I can try the correct VIN value, in which case they then will, the non-updated VIN, they will be able to validate it, and then it brings me up to this page. So it does help you with your data entry when you're entering into that field, because if you're like me, sometimes you're typing kind of fast and your finger accidentally hits the key next to it, you don't get something that you anticipated to hit. Yes?
The VIN I chose, the last digit, I changed it to a different digit.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it is, and also the exact same.
How about that? So somehow Intelligence is telling you that. So while this is a demo, these pages, the cost of Intelligence is real. So Intelligence really thinks that what they presented to you relates with that VIN. So if and that brings up a good thing, if when they come back and they bring it back as the Acura 2010 RL, but you know that it's really a 2011, you can change that. You have the power to make it be what you know it needs to be. Okay?
Intelligence, draw its information.
Thinking, where do they draw it? Well, there is, for the series of numbers and letters, there's an algorithm behind every, like if there's something in this one particular portion of the VIN, it knows that that relates to the model. If there's something in this portion, they know that relates to the year. And so what they do is they take the string that you enter in, and they decipher it, and not make a best guess, but they determine what they believe it's supposed to be.
Okay.
And they bring back the information. And that's why most of the time they're right, but they could have gotten it wrong some way, and that's why we make sure that you have the ability to override it and use what you know to be correct.
Right?
Yes.
10 and 11 equals.
What about a customer that comes in with their own plate,
Put it in one.
we don't write one,
And
and
put
then
it
they
in
just
like
fail to tell us
11.
they
That's the craziest thing.
but there's write one, but there's no
Yeah.
way to change the date, backdate the date, so that it doesn't give them additional.
Yeah.
Right.
With the expiration.
Then they're given more time than they're supposed to be given.
Thank you. And for that, I am going to have to turn it over to Tom or someone else. So the question that's been presented to me is, so a customer comes in, they buy a car from me, and they say, hey, I've already got my plate. I don't need this plate. And they come back a couple of days later and say, oh, I really don't have my plate. I really do need you to make one for me. So if you now, 2 or 3 days after the fact, generate a plate, the expiration date really is kind of in the future, or even 3 weeks later. And so, no, and so what do they do then? What's the business rule for that?
Well, we understand that does happen, and if it's just a day or two, it's not a big deal, but if it's a week later, I wouldn't do that. Well, yeah, and I understand it happens, and if it's just a day or two, like I said, just make a note in there when you issue the plate that they came back a couple days. I haven't ran across where it's been more than
We have.
like a week. I've actually have.
Oh, wow.
You can also direct that person to our office at that point, just say that, you guys can't issue a plate past that.
Yeah, that goes real well.
He's correcting me, I'm talking.
No. You use the bad name to Ray Gilman, not you. So.
I've seen that happen, is people have a plate, but it expires like 15 days later, and then they're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't like that work from you yet.
That's exactly the same thing. They didn't tell us that our hard tag was expiring.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah,
So then we have to, then our only option is to issue them another plate.
right, yeah,
2
and
weeks
you
later.
can't do that 2 weeks later.
Yeah, so they'll have to be referred to.
Oh, well, that's not very good.
It almost sounds like there needs to be some upfront communication with the customer to find out from them when did your plate expire.
They're like,
We understand.
I want that car, I don't want that.
That's what the will have to
We like to, just a couple of days, a week.
Oh, it's usually
So that is a good option. So I need to get back with the group that we're holding this, with their rules and regulations to see if that can happen. Is that something we can do? So what's on the table is something for us to discuss about potentially allowing a sale date to be entered instead of using the Yeah, okay.
There is no discussion.
There is no discussion,
No.
but there you go, sorry, I can't discuss it.
Right, the day has to be generated automatically when the plate's issued.
Yeah, the whole goal is to be within the law and not setting anybody up to be, brought up on charges, so, yeah.
But if you do run into a situation, you're not sure what to do, call our office. Yeah, I mean, we can discuss it, and we know stuff comes up, and we know the consumers don't always get the best information to you guys initially, so feel free to call our office or email us, and we'll help you figure something out.
Maybe even having something for them to sign when they get it, if they say that they have their own plate, that way they know up front. When they come back to you, you can bring it out and say, we discussed it.
So we can sell a vehicle without paying a plate, that,
Say again?
if I sell a vehicle, the customer don't want to see, that is allowed, I don't know.
Yeah, if they have
Except
their
for
own.
trading, or everything.
Yeah, they can use that place to bill a sale.
Oh, that's,
Yeah, the only issue just has to be under their name.
how do we know this is
Yeah, what,
You know, payment, credit card, whatever it is. What happens to our card account? I mean, we directly to our, Access Indiana account or subscriber account. Is our credit card or subscriber?
Is that going away?
So real quick before you do, let me go ahead and say it so everybody can hear. There's a question on the floor about whether or not, with the payments that are there, if you'd be able to use any account that you already have established with the state of Indiana.
So, currently, if you have an Access Indiana account, the company that is processing those payments for us is, we made a business decision to change our payment processor, partly for compliance purposes, because of the amount of information that's in our system and because of the type of information that's in our system, they were not compliant with some federal laws that we need to be compliant for. And so they weren't going to be prepared to do that in the time frame that we needed them to be. So we made a business decision to change our payment processor to a different vendor who is compliant and is also a vendor for the state of Indiana. Now, that does change then how that works for you, so you won't have that, essentially that the convenience fees will be paid for by the dealership in a different manner than they are today. But it was for security and compliance purposes that we had to make. So you will see it slightly different. You won't have some of the advantages of the subscriber account that you. We're hoping that doesn't adversely impact the dealership, because we do know that it is a convenience to be able to do certain transactions in there, the waste for them. So we're working through that from a standpoint of at least keeping some information on file for a period of time. I think today, for InBiz, for our business services side, we do it for 15 days. For your credit cards to stay on file, we then clear those accounts. Well, after 15 days, if you were to do another online transaction, you would have to put your credit card information in again. Partly, again, for security reasons, we do that. So Access Indiana today, essentially you can be invoiced for that you won't have that option going forward.
With Access Indiana too?
Well, up until we make this change, you will. But after January, when we go live with this part of the system, you won't have that.
This might be beyond the realm. So Access Indiana, are we going, every time we would pull a BMV record, are we going to be charged a convenience fee on top of the fee? Do you know, like there's a convenience fee now when you pay for your interim plates? I know in InBiz, there's a fee every time you buy whatever it is you're buying.
Right. So explain to me.
So
about the-
every time you pull a record on Access Indiana, it says it's charging you $5, and then you get a bill at the end of the month. Are they going to attach a fee? So if it's going to go through the new bill payer or whatever, is it going to charge you a fee every time you pull a record?
Okay, so
That's Access Indiana.
Well, but he was saying our subscriber services will go away for Access Indiana too.
Sorry, it will go away specifically specifically for what you do, sir.
Okay, so if you're pulling a B&B record, that's still gonna stay the same? Okay, I got you. Sorry.
So yeah, only for what you do for dealer services, specifically at the moment for plates on demand, that will be where.
Okay, gotcha, thanks.
Your convenience fees are based on a percentage, and I'm not remembering the exact numbers, but they're based on essentially the amount of money that you're buying. So if you're buying 100 credits, your convenience fee will be a percentage of that, different than if you were buying 50 credits. So just know that's where it comes in. It's not a flat rate. I think it's, I'm sorry, I won't say what it is because I don't know for sure. But so just understand that that's where it is. So we bought, I think we bought 150 credits, $450 was the total. Convenience fee was $10. So,
Who's getting that?
the payment processor gets that. We don't get that.
Visa credit card.
Correct.
So what about, and what was the other form of payment?
E-check.
So is there a convenience fee for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, guaranteed e-check.
Yes, I believe there is. So, and again, that's partly the convenience of the online transactions.
Percentage higher or lower if you buy more credits? If you buy, is it 10% if you buy 100, 5% if you buy 300? You know?
No. Before you leave, I will get you the answer.
Okay.
Other questions on convenience fees?
Thank you for answering that. There was one more scenario that some of you may have seen, but I didn't show, and so I'm going to go ahead and come change my dealer. But if you do not have any credits purchased and you're trying to print a plate, you will be told about it so that you don't go further. So let's see if I picked the correct one. So see here, this is someone that I have not done any information with. They have not purchased credits yet, and that's why they have the zeros here. If I go to generate a plate, and when I select a plate type, a warning will pop up to help you know that you will need to purchase credits to generate a plate. So if you forget that you've run out of credits or you didn't take the time to see at the top that you don't have any credits, this does remind you so that you don't get down the pipe of filling out all kinds of information and wasting your time. And then when you hit OK, you will be taken to the credit purchase tab immediately so that if you have the correct role, you can go in and purchase the plates. But that really takes us through our demonstration. It is the dashboard, again, that has the different areas. You will have announcements up here that's very important. Any dealer you're related to, you would be able to see listed here. And then the online services, which is where you will in the future go for any self-service type items that you need to do. Manage the users if you're the primary for your accounts for the dealer. And then plates on demand, pardon me, which we just did, which again, if you have more than one dealer, you'll need to select.
So when will this start? The first of the year when the new plates, new interim plates come out, will this be up and running?
Yeah, the exact day that it will come up, I'm not quite sure, but it is in January for the go live. Can someone help me recall the date that this will begin? The go live is?
Our current target date to go live is mid-January, but we don't have a definitive date yet.
Okay. Well, certainly by the end of January, but mid-January, yes.
The managed users,
Oh, plates start over like the first of the year.
so like where we can add more people, that maybe.
Very good. So there's a question with managed users about adding users. So what's going to happen is they will need to set up their own account through the single sign-on, and then you'll be able to then add them at that time. But right now, that add functionality wasn't something for this demo. So, yes.
There's been a couple of things with
Yeah.
plates on demand that we've talked about previously. One of them is the ability to print a report
Okay.
of your plate and be able to, it looks like you might be able to look at your transactions and sort them a little bit.
Right.
But actually to be able to print a report of that once you've sorted, is there anything with that?
We are working on reports for Phase 2, which would come with the self-service kinds of things.
Yeah.
Pardon me, it would be basically, from my understanding at this time, it would be printing off of the recent plates listing there.
I kind of looked at that, and I thought, it looks like they could do.
Reports are something that we're talking about at this time, and that's going to be implemented in the future, so I'll keep in mind to make sure that we have something that you personally have.
One other thing, too, is that comment section within a plate. There was also talk about leaving that live so that if the thing unwound 2 weeks later.
Right.
That you could go back and say, this
Yeah.
deal was
You
unwrapped,
know.
Yes.
and do things like that, but it doesn't appear that that's
Right
gonna be
now-
a thing.
Yeah, that was mentioned. So there's something on, that's been asked about, and that's, if, down the road past the 3-day limit, if you'd be able to go back and update with a comment. And that is something we're looking at, doing, allowing the comment field to be available in the future, for in case something happens. But right now, I don't have it
I
built
tell you
for
why that, it's important even within your company,
Right.
if somebody can go back and say, this employee did something they shouldn't have done, or
The log that they know,
Or, yes.
the malicious.
any
activity.
kind of scenario that
Yeah.
you could be able to explain yourself in advance of somebody else looking.
Right.
You know, lots of people thought that would be really helpful to be able to do it.
Yes, thank you for
Cases,
reminding me
or
of that,
whatever.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is something that we have discussed, and I just didn't have it implemented yet for the demo.
Just wondering if it was.
All right, we have time for one more question, and Tom has an answer as well, so we're going to go here for a question. If we could all address our attention up here for just a few more minutes, we're almost there.
What's your question?
Few more minutes.
Yes. Yes, there'll be an upload feature. Yes.
Can't wait.
Yes, so we're trying to make it to where, any of these self-service items that you'll be doing, whether it's renewal or modifying in some way your license or whatever, there will be a feature where you can upload all the documents, and there will be an initial page that helps you remember what all things you have to gather and have in place before you start, populating the form. So yes, absolutely. Good question. Good one to end on.
Yeah, thank you very much. Tom?
So this is what I believe to be true for convenience. So credit card, debit card transactions, minimum of $1 or 2.25% of the dollar amount of the transaction. So it'll be a minimum of $1 and then 2.25%. For guaranteed e-checks, it's either 1.25% or a flat rate of $1.50, whichever is higher. So, for example, if you had a $105 transaction, your fee would be $1.50 because 1.25% is only $1.31. So you pay the higher amount for guaranteed e-checks for the transactions.
Well, thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time and attention today. Please keep in mind this was your first look. There will be more information heading your way. We hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.